Well. Welcome everybody to Security Live. It's a show where we talk about all things AWS security, some of those latest trends, latest challenges as well, and solving those challenges with our favorite AWS security partners. I'm one of your co-hosts, Ryan Orsi. I'm in the AWS Partner Network, leading a team called Cloud Foundations and Advanced Services. It's a mouthful. It just means that I get to work with really cool technologies and really cool software and service companies. I'm joined by my co-hosts.
Thanks. This is Himanshu. I lead this team of our security specialists. We help our customers and partners orchestrate partner and native AWS security services. By the way, Ryan, the services that you mentioned are mouthful, but they're also very critical for all our customers and partners. So I think, I take pride in those critical services, and especially some of the partners we're going to talk today are going to tell us how they are leveraging some of those services.
There's a few, right? And it can be kind of like a full-time job to keep up with what is AWS releasing for all kinds of services. I mean, obviously, like security, identity services, super critical, as you put it, right, to your entire cloud estate. We've been working with different partners throughout the years. When we say working with, what do we mean, Himanshu? We mean if they're building software, we're helping advise them to like how to integrate better with native AWS capabilities, because the cloud has a lot of power. The software companies have a lot of intelligence and a lot of value to add on top of that. So if we can make it easier for everybody to adopt security technologies while building in AWS, that's what we're all about.
Absolutely.
Speaking about what we're all about, what are you all about, Himanshu? This looks like a different background, my man. Are you
I know. The lighting's a little different because, it's like the hotel setup. I'm actually visiting both partners and customers, which is one of the things that we do is, bring back that signal from our partners and customers. So I'm in Asia this week, visiting, in India. I actually met some of our partners here, in Delhi and in Bangalore. So a lot of good signal, a lot of good excitement. Actually, a lot of partners looking forward to enrolling into AWS Built-in, which is one of our competency, as well as our MSSP level 1 continues to grow and see more momentum. And then also new competencies that we just launched at re:Invent last year, which is our cybersecurity competency. So a lot of excitement from partners, around some of these competencies.
Speaking of partners, speaking of AWS Built-in, security competency, there's one partner who kind of has all those boxes checked. Let's welcome our special guests, Mike and Fernando from Trend Micro. Hello, folks. Welcome to Security Live. Maybe a way to kick it off is Mike, then Fernando. Maybe do a little intro for the folks. What is it you do here at Trend Micro?
Yeah, Ryan, Himanshu, thank you very much. We're happy to be here. My name is Mike Milner. I work on the product team at Trend Micro, really focusing on our Vision One platform and the cloud in particular. I've been at Trend for a little over 6 years, and I'm joining you today from Nova Scotia, Canada, where we are getting hopefully the last snowstorm of the season, if you can believe it.
Wow. Way up north.
Well, thanks for joining us, Mike. And Fernando.
Yeah, Fernando Cardozo, Director for PM and PMM team for the Vision One Cloud Security. Similar with like Mike, very focused in the cloud security strategy for the Vision One platform. I've been a little bit over 12 years in Trend Micro, and I'm talking with you all from Dallas, Texas.
Oh, welcome. And it looks like, maybe later over some beers, we could cry on each other's shoulders about Himanshu and I are recovering product managers in the cybersecurity industry as well. So we know exactly where you all are. Excited to have you on the show. And I understand we've been working together pretty closely. We mentioned it in the intro of the show. When we say working together, Himanshu's covering the whole go-to-market with our customer base and our partners around these security services that AWS is producing. My team are some business and technical experts helping folks like Trend Micro build with and architect with these services, but it's all for one mutual mission, right? Is to make it easier for people to build their applications and run their cloud environment in regards to security. We don't want it to be a blocker. We want it to be an enabler to what they can build and grow. So,
right. And Ryan, one of the other fun facts, Fernando and I, go a little ways back.
Longer.
And yeah, he's I would say he's one of the passionate, customer obsessive partners that we've had, who keeps us challenged as well. I think we've shared some deep tech as well as GTM strategies on threat detection, as well as how to enable both our technologies. And Fernando's actually can share maybe some insights here, working backwards from customers and bringing in that feedback into how both our products and services work together in providing that solution. Is being core to this relationship.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think just a little background, right? In Trend Micro, we have been like a partner with AWS for over 10 years, right? I remember my first meeting with AWS back in São Paulo, Brazil, with like few employees from AWS, because they were like building the location on that time. Right now, it's like a massive number of like employees in Brazil. But if you see the history, how Trend and AWS have been working together, right? Building security technologies together and sharing the integrations to help organizations with the shared responsibility. That is a very key aspect for AWS recommending to customers, right? And as Himanshu mentioned, one of the things that we discussed, I think last year, right, was around ABI, right? ABI is an amazing program from AWS helping customers. Oh yeah, sorry. Amazon built-in. and the Amazon built-in was a very key aspect to accelerate adoption from customers with like AWS services, but also from the vendors helping with the shared responsibility, right? And one of the things that I started discussing with Himanshu, Kishore, and Anthony, and a couple other people from AWS was like, why not just like create the integration that we build together in the GitHub, but bring to the platform, right? To like Trend Micro platform. And since that conversation, I think was August last year, Himanshu, something like that, right?
It was August last year, I remember.
And it's like, let's dive in with the product team here in Trend and starting making things easier for customers to simplify the way how they are integrating and deploying the technology and the platform, right? And we create like what we call a cloud account management system, where customers can easily select the capabilities where they want it to be integrated with AWS. It could be like a ECR, multiple services looking for misconfiguration. It could be CloudTrail, protecting S3 buckets, and many other things with just like a simple click, and they can launch a stack, right? They can even show a quick like visibility on how this can works. If you allow me to share my screen here.
We will allow it.
Yeah, absolutely. While you're doing that, Fernando, Mike, would you want to like add some context for our audience, like, especially Trends being a long-standing partner of AWS, one of the
I think
flagship and the primary partners from the early days. How does the relationship between what Fernando does in the organization versus what your team does, and how it all shapes up? Can you provide some more context there?
Yeah, it's interesting. If you look back, I mean, Trend's been around for a long time. We're over 30 years old, working solely on security, which for a tech company feels like forever. But I think we've always had a special knack of really kind of getting on the forefront of these new technologies. And I love telling the story with AWS. The very first reInvent, Trend Micro was the only security vendor on the show floor, which these days is like mind-blowing that there could be just one security vendor. And you think back to those early days, and people were starting to adopt the cloud. It was early, and they were thinking, oh, AWS just released a new thing. EC2 is out now, so now I need my workload security to work with the cloud. And now there's containers in the clouds. Okay, now I need a solution for cloud. And now I need, and all these kind of point problems. But really, if you look at it, it's evolved to the stage where Fernando's talking about, right? Like, it's no longer, I just need to solve this one little problem. It's, I need to manage my cloud security as a whole. And there's a lot to it. And that's why we're really excited with the ABI. we've got a ton of security value in our platform and AWS, but ABI is kind of unlocking it, making it easy for the customers to access. And I think that's the real power.
And yeah,
Absolutely.
and here's like a pretty simple way to demonstrate how we integrate the ABI automation process to the platform, right? Customers can choose between a single account or organization accounts, and we are also bringing the Control Tower integration very soon to the platform. And then they can choose between the capabilities, right? For example, the core capability is looking for multiple misconfiguration over 8 different AWS services with over 650 checks out of the box that we are looking for misconfigurations across many different AWS services. But also an interesting piece here, we are mapping with the AWS Well Architecture Framework. We map with the 6 pillars from Well Architecture Framework, helping the organizations to follow the best practice from AWS from the beginning of the stage when they starting using AWS or when they are very mature and advanced in AWS too, right? The other capabilities would be agentless vulnerability and threats that they can integrate with the EBS and also ECR. A little teaser here, we are bringing a vulnerability scanner for Lambda functions too, to help customers with like a more broad visibility, ECS protection, and also EKS for Kubernetes, having like a runtime visibility for those containers, a CloudTrail integration. Some customers, they say like, oh, I have this huge amount of data in CloudTrail, but I don't know if they are suspicious or not. And what we are trying to do here is, as Michael mentioned, with all this 35 years of threat intelligence and security, right? We are bringing our threat intelligence and applying on top of the CloudTrail logs to help organizations to find suspicious activities that we can help you to create some cloud detection and automation, basically, right?
Very
Yeah.
cool. Hey,
Yeah.
Fernando, just I know we jumped into the overview here. I think it'll be good for some of the listeners to listen to the evolution of, I'm assuming this is Vision One, which is the Trend cybersecurity platform. What is sort of like the evolution of this platform? How you've learned from customers as well as both from the AWS teams on, what customers really needed and how these capabilities actually came to life. I think that'll be really great to set that context.
Oh yeah, no, very good point. Maybe we can work together in this, Mike, right? But basically, what we did in the past, right? Trend have like a platform, and we still have a platform called it Trend Cloud One, right? That we like was built specifically for cloud. But as the evolution of the cloud, it is emerging in the SOC operations, right? Organizations want to not just like look for the cloud environment, but they want to look for the entire organization. And when we say about like the entire organization, they want to understand their risks in their endpoints, internet facing assets, their identity accounts, their email network, and cloud assets too. That's why we listening very, very close to the customers, right? We starting bringing the Cloud One platform inside the Vision One platform and unify our cybersecurity platform only in Vision One. This way, customers can have all the entire on-premise, the entire network, the entire email protection, but also the cloud security inside Vision One for a better management and an overview perspective of their risks and security. Mike, I don't know if you want to also add a couple.
I'm doing a home renovation right now, so I think in terms of like building things, and I think of the early days. These were a toolbox full of tools, and you'd give the toolbox to the customer and say, "There, here's everything you need to protect your environment." But increasingly, we're hearing that we definitely have customers who are ready and eager for that. But I think the majority now, the risk surface is so big, not just in cloud, but across the organization. They don't want just a box of tools. They want like an expert general contractor. They want the guidance. Like this kind of risk management view it's not just a pretty picture, although of course it looks amazing. But what we're really trying to say is, hey, you've connected us to your environments, that ABI thing that Fernando was showing. And now we're going to advise you where your biggest risk is, and not just show you, but actually help you fix it. And I think that's a big shift in the industry. And it's where our customers want us to go. They want us to be the experts to help them improve their posture, reduce that risk, or manage that risk. And that's really where we're going with this platform. You can see that coming out in now everything we do at Trend.
I'm so glad you're bringing that point to life, Mike, about overall business risk. And people do want to hire that general contractor that knows how to build decks and walls and drywall and paint, and they can hire and subcontract, and they have all the components and pieces. And you just get kind of like, one bill or one throat to choke, right? One throat to choke is an old like cliche saying, but
Yeah.
by the way, in my team working across the world in different other companies out here, different software and service companies, we hear the same thing. And that point we made earlier in the show today about AWS built in is our kind of mechanism together. It's a partner program. Trend Micro is a part of it. Everyone can look at it online, or maybe we'll put a link in the chat. But it's a way for, as you mentioned, this needs to be wired up to a lot of different sources of telemetry and logs, including AWS. We wanted to make it easier for Trend and for our mutual customers to be able to wire everything up and not have to be those deep experts at cloud per se, and hooking in CloudTrail or Security Hub or IAM role policies into your platform. So that AWS built-in component here was kind of our first motion together, Trend and AWS and a few other.
Was a little push to Trend Micro to make more automation with AWS for sure.
That's right. Sorry. Okay. So Fernando, keep on going, man.
Being very honest on that, right? But
And Fernando, you mentioned AWS built-in a couple of times now. Like, I think this has been a journey over the last several months and years. Like, would be good for other partners or customers listening in. Like, how has AWS helped accelerate some of this, Vision One view that Trend's now bringing to the customers, especially with, the built-in services that are being leveraged? One of the things that we tell our customers as well as partners is that, we have good building blocks that allow partners as well as, customers to accelerate their security outcomes. So it'll be good, like, if you can provide some context and examples there as well.
Sure. I think built-in, it is a really important aspect to increase the ability for customers to incorporate those technology in massive deployments, right? I know you can use built-in in a small number too, but when you are talking about organizations, as we work with over 9,000 AWS accounts, right? Imagine you need to deploy every single account like a CloudTrail, or how you would be automatically deploying the massive specifically services Macie, or Security Hub, or any other capabilities in all this huge amount of AWS, right? AWS built-in allows us to fully automate it in organization and control tower level, where we can tie in with those automations and also deploy our technology, right? That's why I even bring it up the ability to use organizations or control tower, because this way you can even deploy and utilize all the data from CloudTrail from all this massive number of AWS accounts, right? One of the customers that we work with was over 9,000 AWS accounts, and they were struggling heavily about how they can bring a one view of their risks across the entire AWS accounts. And what we did was basically deploying those security automations and the organization's kind of deployment with them, right, with Control Tower. And in basically a couple minutes, we were able to find all the cloud misconfigurations that they have as an issue. We were able to map with a different compliances as PCI DSS, ISO 27001, and a couple others that they need, but also ranking their risk visibility about how many compliances violations they have, what is the highest misconfigurations risks they have, right? What is the CVEs that has a high exploitable visibility across the globe on their Kubernetes clusters or on their VMs or on their ECR, for example. We can bring like everything in one single pane of glass where they can do a better investigation and connect with the security operations teams. I even saw like a little question here: would we be able to fix and manage in real time those things? Right? It is, yes, you can. When you go to like a cloud posture and you have like some, here. You have the cloud posture and you start investigating some of the misconfiguration in more details, right? We have ways that you can basically have a resolve button, right? And the resolve button will bring you to the knowledge base where you have like the ability of like steps by steps on how to fix on AWS console or AWS CLI. In some cases, we give the customers the ability to understand how to fix on the AWS Cloud Formations or Terraform. The other interesting point is send this role to somebody. Like maybe you are not the owner, but there is another squad team in your team that is responsible for those issues, and you can send that to them. Or you want to integrate with your Jira, with your ServiceNow, with your PagerDuty, with like a ticketing systems to open a case for them to start fixing. And this is not just about misconfigurations. This is about like vulnerabilities. This is about like a potential attack path. That is actually an interesting case, right? You have like imagine an EC2, and that EC2 has some interconnectivity with the internet. At the same time, that connectivity with the EC2 has connection with the database, with the RDS, right? But this RDS maybe have a sensitive data. And in this case here, there's like an internet-facing EC2 with unrestricted access. What that means is this misconfiguration could lead a potential attack to this EC2 that could be generating a data breach on this RDS. Like the idea here, it is helping the customers to connect the dots, but also the permissions, the like IAMs, the additional resource that they have in their cloud infrastructure for them to be able to respond faster and quicker with the different teams in the organization.
And I just have to throw a shout out to your UX team. Like the graphical display here is helpful, right? Like I'm sure there's a detailed tabular view we can all like get into for details, but like just that high level graphical view, I have to say, thank you.
It's got to look good. It's got to look good.
And you can move here to like a better visibilities, right? You have like a subnet connected with the ECS or EKS cluster in this case. You can even see some of the vulnerabilities on those clusters if you need it. There is like the asset profile that we apply the AI here to automate the asset criticality. For example, all the details that we are collecting from the metadata from AWS, we are coming and applying the AI methodology to generate the asset criticality. Like imagine if one of the tags would be like a PCI DSS environment or a critical environment or production, then the criticality of this asset probably will go higher because it's an important asset. We also even give the customers the ability to change here if they need it, right? But this is a couple additional capabilities that we allow customers to do through the platform as an easy way for them.
It's worth mentioning, like we talked about that general contractor information. All this detail is super important, but some customers actually would rather somebody else manage it. So you can actually have Trend manage some of the response for you as like a managed service. Right. And if you want additional help, we actually have an AI companion that can help you understand and make sense and reduce the time to understand these findings that you're seeing. So another big area of investment for us.
That was something that I was going to follow up on. Like, like Fernando, you showed a lot of insights around, how to correlate various different entities involved. When it comes to like response or trying to address some of these things, is that something that, customers can orchestrate using automation? Or, is that something that, you have ways to create workflows, et cetera, for approval?
Yeah. Workflow and automation, man. You're like you're reading the future here.
Yeah, the security playbooks allow the customers to create like the automations that they need. For example, if they see a new CVE that is high exploitable in an EC2, then they can automatically create a ticket in ServiceNow for them to respond to that, right? Or they can, we are bringing a couple additional capabilities where customers can detect that early in the shift left with the CI/CD pipeline integrations, right? This is one of the capabilities in addition that we are bringing for customers. Today we have Artifact Scanner that they can scan the container image and already report to the Visual One. We also look for threats like malicious content that could be embedded inside the container image as a crypto mining, ransomwares, and a couple other things that the attackers are trying to inject inside the code from customers' environments in some cases. But the security playbooks will play a big role in this for sure.
And without divulging into too much detail, like what's the sort of like the vision of Division One? Where is this headed further now?
Oh my God, that's like the vision of the vision. I think it's a simplify the security for customers, right? Security in some cases can be very complex, and we know that like a lot of organizations today, they have over 50 or 60 like secure technologies in their environments. What we are trying to do here, it is simplifying one platform where they can consolidate it, a lot of the investments that they have. That's why we also have a huge and important integration with like many additional vendors and different technologies across the board, where customers can bring those informations, those telemetries to the Vision One as a way to augment the investments that they did in the past. For example, if they have a Palo Alto technology, or if they have a SIEM, if they have a BAS technology, or if they have a ITDR like solution, or a vulnerability management as Tenable, Qualys, they can like bring that information here, and we'll be augmenting that data and applying the risk scoring to be fully mapped with the full risk index from the organization.
And that is across the organization: cloud, traditional endpoint, on-prem, even things like factory floor automation. We have a lot of customers who are protecting all of that with Vision One.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think what stands out to me, guys, I mean, I'm in the AWS partner org. I see a lot of different products out here, but you've really invested time in making sure that like just wiring up and getting people to use your products across all platforms, all environments is much quicker, faster, easier than I've seen in other areas. The fact you offer, kind of a managed service. If someone's in your product, they're like, "Hey, that is interesting. I'm not sure how to deal with it, or I'm overloaded. I don't have enough people to deal with this. What can I do quickly?" You got that covered, and you have a whole ecosystem of MDR kind of companies that'll support your product as well. But I think you've really done a fantastic job keeping it simple, making it easier, and I applaud you guys like as you go through your roadmap of the product to keep innovating with AWS built in, making it even simpler to go to deploy other kind of services across AWS and on the AWS side of the house.
Yeah,
sure.
And I think it's that time of the year. We are in high planning gear and mode, and I think just released the track agenda for Reinforce, which is our primary builder persona based learning security learning conference. I'm assuming Trend's going to be there. We're excited to have Trend there as well. So for the audience, I think it'll be good to like come on, participate, and also see what our partners have to offer. And if Trend's going to be there, I'm sure we'll have much more immersive demos and visualizations of Vision One.
Absolutely. We'll see you at Reinforce, and folks watching, you can get the free cloud security posture assessment by following the link below by Trend Micro. Mike, Fernando, thanks for joining us on Security Live. We'll be right back, folks.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Have a good one.